If you want to go from skinny fat to fit, then these are the top foods that I recommend as part of your journey. If you're new here, hey, I'm Healthy Emmy. I'm a nutritionist, a weight loss specialist, and the creator of Slim, the all-inclusive program and platform that gives you a custom meal plan, custom workout plan, daily meditations, journal topics, everything that you can need, including access to me so that you can reach your goals. I've talked about this in my previous video about skinny fat, that I don't want you to use the term skinny fat. I mean, you can if you want. I would never use that term to describe somebody else. Instead, I take the more objective approach of simply saying that somebody that may be described as quote unquote skinny fat is somebody whose body fat percentage is high, but their overall weight is still pretty low and their muscle mass is very low. Ideally, for health and longevity, we want you to have a higher muscle mass and a healthy amount of body fat. We don't want you to have no body fat or super low body fat, especially for females, but we do want it to be in a place where it's modest enough that you're not going to have health issues from it. As I talked about in that last video, if you do want to transform from having a high body fat percentage and low muscle mass into having a healthy body fat percentage and a high muscle mass, then you're gonna wanna go through two separate phases on your journey and alternate between them, going through each phase for a pretty good amount of time so that you can make progress in that phase. So phase one is going to be the fat loss phase, and phase two is going to be the muscle gain phase. So I'm going to be talking to you about 3 foods that are going to support your fat loss phase, and then once your body fat percentage is lower and you want to increase your muscle mass, these are 3 foods that are going to help with the muscle building phase. As I talked about in my last video about skinny fat transformations, it's really tricky to do both at the same time, to have your body fat percentage go down and have your muscle mass increase. We usually can see this happen with what we call newbie gains, people that are completely new to the gym and have a lot of excess body fat. They start going to the gym and they may actually see that their muscle mass goes up and their body fat percentage goes down. But for individuals that may have been at this for a while, you're gonna wanna break this up into phases where you're exclusively focusing on fat loss and then you're exclusively focusing on muscle gain. In order to best support this journey, I highly recommend that you have a scale that isn't just a scale, but that actually analyzes your body fat percentage and your muscle mass. And the one that I trust and have been recommending to my clients is the sponsor of today's video, which is the Hume Body Pod, the world's first portable body pod analyzer. Unlike normal scales, this isn't going to be something that you step on it and it spits out one number that you have no idea what that actually is comprised of. This analyzes 40 different health metrics. And if you wear a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, you can sync it with this device. So when you step on this, it analyzes and measures your full body composition head to toe with 98% medical accuracy. So not only are you gonna get your weight, but you're gonna get your body fat percentage, your muscle mass, your bone density, your visceral fat, where on your body you're storing fat, your metabolic age, how much of your body is water, how much of your body is lean mass. And this is fantastic because you can then track over time, over the long term, is my body fat percentage going down and is it now in a healthy range? And am I increasing my muscle mass? You see, one of the hardest things for individuals when they're on this journey, especially in the muscle gain journey, is that they might see the number on the scale go up. And if they don't have something like the Body Pod from Hume, they can think that they're gaining fat when the reality is that the Hume Body Pod can tell you, no, you're actually gaining muscle, which is very healthy. And Hume is currently running a sale, but I also have a discount code on top of it. So when you use Emmy and you use the link that's in the description bar, you can get up to 50% off of your Body Pod. And if you have HSA or FSA and you live in the US, you can use that on this. It's a no-brainer in my eyes. For each food that we talk about today, I'm going to be giving you the scientific explanation for exactly how it aids with either fat loss or muscle gain. Then I'm going to be citing a study to back that up. And then I'm going to be describing in layman's terms and metaphorically how you can visualize this working within your body. Starting out with food number one, which is oatmeal. Oatmeal is such a fantastic staple breakfast, especially when you use something like zucchini or cauliflower to lower the average calorie density. So something that I like to do, just because now I find it so satisfying, is I'll take my oatmeal, I'll take about a cup of oats, I'll take a zucchini, I'll grate it up, put it together with about 1.75 cups of water, or you could use a plant-based milk, microwave it for 3 to 5 minutes, and then I add in whatever toppings and flavorings I want to. But this helps reduce the calorie density, increase the volume so that you feel more satisfied and satiated with more volume, but not as many calories. Oatmeal is a resistant starch, meaning that when you eat it, it ferments in the gut and it creates something called butyrate that you may have heard of before. Butyrate increases insulin sensitivity and increases fat oxidation. A study published in the journal called Nutrition and Metabolism found that consuming resistant starch increased fat oxidation by 23% while also improving insulin sensitivity, which makes it easier for the body to burn stored fat. Think of eating oatmeal like using an electric toothbrush instead of a normal toothbrush. When you use the electric toothbrush, you're removing more debris. You're really getting in there. You're removing the plaque. You're getting more done with the same tool. That's like eating oatmeal. That resistant starch just packs more punch for fat oxidation. Next up are leafy greens. What's fabulous about leafy greens is that for maybe even breakfast if you're feeling bold, but for lunch and dinner, you can always have a nice big side salad with whatever you're eating, and it's gonna be a high volume, high nutrient density, but low calorie density addition to the meal to dilute the overall calorie density of what you're eating. If you're even having something like a rice bowl, you could put it over a bed of leafy greens, mix it all together, and now you're eating less calories per bite. It can increase the volume of your meal while keeping the calories modest. Additionally, these dark leafy greens contain compounds called thylakoids that you've heard me talk about a million times before, but thylakoids suppress the appetite and increase fat oxidation. They also increase GLP-1 within the body. We've heard about GLP-1 and GLP-1 drugs, but GLP-1 is naturally occurring in the body, and you can eat foods like leafy greens that increase your production of GLP-1. I promise you that if at lunch and dinner every day over the next 2 weeks, you have a big side salad with what you're eating, bunch of leafy greens, raw vegetables, carrots, cucumbers, bell peppers, and then you use an oil-free dressing mixed together, a teaspoon of maple syrup, a tablespoon of mustard, a little bit of peanut butter powder and some water, and drizzle that over. I promise you, you will be down in weight within the next 2 weeks. A study published in Appetite found that consuming thylakoid-rich spinach extract reduced hunger by 21% and increased weight loss over 3 months. Think of thylakoids like the dimmer. You know, when you need dim down the lights at the end of the day and things feel a little bit calmer, that's what it does to your hunger. It dims the light, it dims the switch so that you're not ravenously hungry all the time. Number 3 for fat loss is soup. Soup has a high water content, making it a higher volume food, but lower in calories. Additionally, because it's a hot thing that we consume and we're consuming it by spoon, we tend to consume it slower. And the slower we eat, the more quickly we become satisfied. You can't shovel it in with something like chips or pretzels or crackers that you can just eat. With a hot bowl of soup, you kind of gotta eat it slowly. And studies actually show that consuming soup before a meal decreases your overall calorie intake. In fact, there was a study done in Physiology and Behavior that found that people who consumed soup before meals ate 20% fewer calories total compared to those who did not. So it's not even that they ate 20% less calories at the next meal. Overall, they ate 20% less. Eating soup before a meal is like putting a speed bump before your meal. It forces you to slow down and it blunts your hunger for the meal and makes you more satisfied more quickly. But I don't want you eating, cream of potato soup or, any animal product soup. A vegetable soup made with veggie broth, without oil, basic vegetable soup. Now we are going to transition into the foods that help you gain muscle. Number one on my list here is tofu. Tofu is a complete protein, meaning that it contains all 9 essential amino acids. There are 9 essential amino acids, which means we can't make them ourselves with our body. We have to get them from food. And when a food contains all 9, it is complete. And there's rumors out here that you can't get complete protein through plant-based food. I'm holding one in my hand, rumor debunked. Tofu specifically is high in leucine, a type of protein, a BCAA. It's an amino acid. It's a BCAA, which you may have heard of before. People can take BCAAs before their workout routine because it stimulates protein synthesis, which signals muscles to grow. There was a study done in the Journal of Nutrition which found that plant-based proteins, including soy like tofu, were just as effective as animal-based proteins in promoting muscle synthesis when consumed in sufficient amounts. Next up on my list, I have seitan. My favorite seitan I get in the Boston area. It's actually from Middletown, Connecticut, but it is by the bridge. This is my favorite one, although always check the expiration date because they seem to expire actually before the expiration date. You can also make your own seitan, but seitan is one of the highest, one of the richest sources of plant-based protein that you'll find. And in my opinion, it is delicious. It's my favorite of all the plant-based proteins. And I think that's because I like bread and this is just straight gluten. So if you're gluten-free, you can't have this, but I'm not gluten-free. It's also rich in glutamine, which promotes muscle recovery and prevents muscle breakdown because it lowers cortisol levels after exercise. There was a study published in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition, which found that diets rich in glutamine improved post-workout recovery and reduced muscle soreness, which allowed for more frequent training sessions. And as we know, the more often you're working out, the more your muscles are gonna grow. I think of glutamine like the Gatorade stands on the marathon running route where somebody gets a little water, they get a little Gatorade, they get a little goo, and then they can blast off and keep running. That's what I think of seitan and foods that are high in glutamine like. And then the last food that we have here, I don't have on me at the moment, but let's pretend that I do. It is protein pasta. I've tried some really great ones. I think the Barilla red lentil is a really great one, and the only ingredient is red lentil flour. But what I love about these is that everybody, loves pasta, although I may be the exception to that. I'm not a huge pasta person. Like bread, sign me up. Pasta, you're on the B team. You might even be on the C or the D team for me. I'm not a pasta gal, but I know that many people are pasta people. So it feels like such a treat, but it's actually super high in protein to help with muscle building. And there was a study done in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition that found that legume-based protein sources, like protein pasta, led to similar gains in muscle mass as animal proteins when consumed after exercise. It's such great bang for your buck. You can make a bowl of pasta, and it happens to be high in protein, add in steamed vegetables. So easy. Add in a red sauce, like my favorite from Whole Foods is the 365, no sugar, no fat marinara. Let's go. Protein pasta is like cashback credit cards where you buy something for $100 and then you get $5 cash back. It's like, yeah, this is gonna give you sustained energy and it's gonna help with building muscle. All right, guys, don't forget to check out the Hume Body Pod. It is linked down below. And don't forget to use my discount code Emmy. You can get up to 50% off. When it comes to the skinny fat transformation, which by the way, we're not calling it that, we are calling increase your muscle mass while decreasing body fat percentage. Let me know what other topics you want related to this because I'm gonna make more videos about it. And if you like this video, you're gonna love the next one that pops up on the screen, which is more about the skinny fat transformation. I love you, honeys, and I'll see you in my next video.